Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Monday. Not a Victory Monday. Not remotely like a Victory Monday. Quite the opposite of many Victory Mondays we've had on this program. The Chiefs lose to the Broncos, and boy, we got a lot to say about it here for the next 3 hours on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel and our Facebook page, WIBW News. However, wherever, whenever you're enjoying the show today, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us here on 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuy will be along in a little while. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. The Kansas City Chiefs are a 500 football team, and they looked the part yesterday afternoon in the Mile High City. Losing at the gun to a Bronco team I'm still not convinced is better than the Chiefs at their best. I'm still not convinced there are many, if any, teams who are better than the Chiefs at their best. But if you can't get to your best after a week off in a game where the AFC West was up for grabs, then what does it matter how good your best is if you can't get to it? And this team, with that advantage, with all of Andy Reid's advantages, 22-4 coming in after a regular season bye, all of the dominance of the division over the years, all of the dominance of Denver over the years, and none of that meant a damn thing yesterday. And as a result, the Chiefs, the sloppy, undisciplined, we have referred to this version of the team that shows up from time to time, the bozo mode Chiefs, lose at Denver. The AFC West streak of 9 years, that's done. There will not be a 10th. And never mind the Arrowhead Invitational, just getting to the playoffs would represent an achievement for a Chiefs team that finds themselves 2 games virtually behind the 7-seed Jaguars with 7 games left to play. That's where we start. On a down note on this edition of 580 Sports Talk, I want to hear from you throughout the program. Chiefs fans out there, vent your spleen. The text line, 785-272-9429 is the text line number, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the YouTube live chat. If you are watching the program on YouTube this afternoon, 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. And you can interact with us. Go subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're up a couple of subscribers from the weekend, which is very cool to see. We're 38 subscribers shy of our stretch goal of 900, which will, when we get there, bring us 580 Sports Talk Idol, which we're very excited about. We're going to sing for you. But you got to get that number up first. So go subscribe if you have not already to 580 Sports Talk. And when you're watching the show live from 3 to 6 weekdays, jump in that live chat. Say hello, interact with your hosts, interact with your fellow listeners, and get your thoughts in, your questions in, your comments and concerns on the YouTube chat. I see Mark, Ryan, Tyler in already today. Good to see you, gentlemen. Look forward to hearing from more of you. And hey, it doesn't have to be a boys club. I know we have women who listen to the program. Like to see some more female representation in the YouTube live chat. If you'd like to hop in, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. In addition to the Chiefs' loss, we're going to talk more about a marquee weekend of matchups in the NFL. Lots happening in the league. There were 3 monster games yesterday, of which the Chiefs and Broncos were one. The other 2 were big matchups in the NFC, and I don't know that they made the NFC picture all that much clearer. The results of the Rams, Seahawks, and Eagles-Lions games, I don't know that that provided a lot of clarity in the NFC. We'll talk our way through it, discuss some other happenings in the AFC. The Bills, once again, outscoring their defense in a win over the Buccaneers. They still have the same warts, but they also still have Josh Allen. And the Chargers might be cooked. They might be about toast. They might be running a dude deficit the way Jacksonville, who had come in after a total catastrophe of a loss the week prior to Houston, just poleaxed Los Angeles. So we'll talk about Week 11. And, of course, our NFL insider will join us At the bottom of this hour, that's Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated and SI.com. We'll get Matt's perspective on the Chiefs' loss as well as everything else that happened in Week 11 of the season. We'll also talk some college football. K-State into the win column, and now 1 win away from bowl eligibility, but no style points for a 14-6 win at woeful Oklahoma State on Saturday in Stillwater. An entirely unpleasant 60 minutes of football, unless you were a member of the Kansas State defense, in which case came up with 5 very big plays, really 4. The interception on the Hail Mary made it 5 turnovers in the game, but big moments for the K-State defense preserving the win. But when you look at K-State realistically, you just kind of have to, if you haven't already, based on, their 5-5 record, you have to lower your expectations for what they're capable of week in and week out, because they are just a mash unit. Jace Brown is now out for the season. And when you add him to the list of guys who are not playing for the Chiefs, it's pretty staggering how much talent they've bled due to injuries and things beyond their control this year. There was one thing that was in their control, and that was the offensive game plan, and it was revoltingly bad. And I have more criticism for Matt Wells lined up when we get around to the K-State football games. We'll talk some college football, a little bit of college hoops to round up the show. We're taking you until 6 o'clock and then handing things off to the K-State Sports Network from Learfield. Kansas State men's basketball in action tonight, taking on the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa. K-State looking to go to 4-0 on the year. We'll have some thoughts on that. Plus our typical Monday shenanigans on the program. We got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Baseball Hall of Fame ballot was released today for the class of 2026. I'll have thoughts on that. Plus we'll do what is wrong with you, good, bad, ugly from the weekend that was, and your comments, your texts as we go along throughout the program. All right, everybody in the place? Good. Broncos 22, Chiefs 19 in Denver yesterday afternoon. How do you lose close games in the NFL? There's something I think about, and on its face, it is a very, very stupid thing to say, but also in that dumb guy logic kind of way, it makes sense. But it's something I've never been able to forget. Trent Dilfer, back when he was doing television, before his ill-fated stint as a major college football coach at UAB, which ended when he got fired earlier this year in one of the more predictable failures in the history of hiring a college football coach. But Trent Dilfer, back when he used to be the former NFL quarterback, when he used to be on ESPN television, he said something once, and it got grabbed because it was just on its face, a very stupid thing to say. But I'll never forget it because, again, dumb guy logic here. Trent Dilfer, with all of the sincerity he could muster, looking into the camera and said, "You can't lose games in the National Football League and still win. You can't lose games in the National Football League and still win." I'm yeah, duh, you can't lose and also win, not how it works. But at the same time, losing games means you do things that are conducive to losing. You play sloppy. You play undisciplined. You commit more penalties than the other team. You make mistakes on the margins. You lose the turnover battle. You're worse on special teams. All of those things typically add up to getting beat. And all of those things can be said about the Kansas City Chiefs and their effort yesterday. They were sloppy. They did lose the turnover battle. They were the more frequently penalized team. They were substantially worse on special teams. And as a result, this team's superpower from last season, the ability to win every close game they found themselves in, literally every one-score game last season, the Chiefs came out on top. They are now 0-5 in those same games this season, and they deserved yesterday's loss. There's no, but if only for this or if only for that. No, the better team won yesterday. I don't think if they played 100 times, the Broncos would win 51. I don't think they're the better team on balance. I don't think they're the more talented team on balance, but they were better yesterday. They were better yesterday, and they deserve to win. And the Chiefs, more to the point, deserve to lose. And they deserve this 500 record. They deserve to be 5-5. And they deserve to be on the fringes of the postseason. If that's how they come out with 2 weeks to get themselves physically and mentally prepared for the biggest game of their season. There was no phase of the game where they were acceptable. There was no phase of the game where they looked sharp, where they looked dialed in, where they looked on the same page. There's nobody outside of, maybe Travis Kelce, maybe Kareem Hunt, maybe Chris Jones. I thought Jones was impactful in the way that he can be impactful. There are not a lot of guys who can look in the mirror after that game and feel like they were their best self. And that'll get you beat against quality competition. And it got the Chiefs beat in Denver yesterday. Offensively, Patrick Mahomes, not good enough. And that's 5 straight years now, because we talked about it last week, and I mentioned this in the instant reaction on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, live on video with Brendan last night over at 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And I did the research on this last week on the show. This is 5 straight years where Patrick Mahomes has come out of the bye week and not played well by his standards. There are a lot of quarterbacks who'd love to throw for, 276 with a touchdown, an INT. But the INT was a killer. The INT cost them points, and it led directly to a Denver touchdown. That was a 10-point swing in a game that was decided by 3 points. Think it mattered? Hell yes. So that interception, inexcusable. The inability to get the ball out in the fourth quarter with 2 drives, one with the lead and one with the game tied, to go win it, to go put the game on ice. The situation where we have seen Mahomes come through time and time and time and time again in his career. He was not good enough in those moments. He hasn't been good enough in those moments this season. Do I think he's forgotten how? No. But the facts are the facts. Around Mahomes, there were drop passes. Rashee Rice drops a pass on some typical Mahomes magic, right? Scrambling, extending the play late in the first half. Not much time left, trying to get into Harrison Butker's field goal range. Rashee Rice drops a pass along the sideline. It's not a easy catch, but it's catch pro wide receiver, a wide receiver one ought to make. And you can argue that cost the Chiefs 3 points in a 3-point game because it would have put them in field goal range. There was miscommunication. There were bad penalties. There was ugly play from the offensive tackles that looked like last season. This is more about Jawaan Taylor than Josh Simmons. You look at Simmons' sum total of play coming back from a month away from football. He held his own against Nick Bonito. He also picked up a couple of penalties. And Jawaan Taylor, still, we're 3 years into his Chiefs career. He doesn't know how to line up. He doesn't know how to line up at the line of scrimmage. I don't know why they don't. Side note here, I don't know why they don't pull him immediately after he does that nonsense. You've got a capable swing tackle in Jalen Moore. Stash Taylor on the bench. The minute he goes out and he can't line up and he blows up a drive because he doesn't know how to line up, he doesn't pay attention, he's not smart enough, or whatever his excuse is, get him off the field. That's got to stop. Penalties kill drives, and you don't have a margin for error against the elite Denver defense. That penalty hurt. Get him off the field. Even if it's just for the rest of the series to make a point that that's not acceptable, make the point. Because accepting that performance, accepting these penalties as just something else to fix, I think is a part of the reason the Chiefs have gotten where they've gotten and are where they are. Defensively, I don't think the Chiefs were awful on defense. They did give up a 2nd and 16 and a 3rd and 15 on Denver's opening field goal drive, but they did also get a red zone stop on that drive. They got a red zone stop after the long punt return, and subsequent penalty started them in the red zone on their second drive. And they held Denver to field goals time and time again. They also gave up a 3rd and 15 on the game-winning drive. And I blame the scheme there. Steve Spagnuolo did not have his fastball coming out of the bye week either. If I'm going to criticize Andy Reid and the players and Matt Nagy and everybody involved with the operation for not having their fastball, it's true for Steve Spagnuolo. Mr. Blitz sent a 3-man rush at Bo Nix on 3rd and 15. What? And not only that, the look the Chiefs were in was predictable enough that, according to some post-game reporting, Broncos players were calling out exactly what the Chiefs were in for that 3rd and 15, where Nix scrambled and found Cortland Sutton and kept the game alive. If you're that predictable, that's a problem. And, of course, not enough pass rush when it mattered, which has been the story of the entire season. Denver made the plays they had to make. We talked about it on the instant reaction. We talked about it last week. Bo Nix On throws, air yards over 10. 10 plus air yard throws. He had a 39% completion percentage. But 39% isn't zero, meaning he can connect on those throws. And give him credit. He connected on those throws in a way that Mahomes was not able to when he missed Xavier Worthy for what would have been a touchdown on the second offensive play of the game. Special teams. Oh, my God, where do I start on special teams? Where do I start on special teams? We have a text from the 785. It came in yesterday. it came in after the game. This texter from the 785 wanted to make sure that we got to this question. When is Dave Toub going to be held accountable for Kansas City's poor special teams play? Not a moment too soon, if you ask me. They're terrible on special teams. They can't return a kick or a punt. They can't cover a kick or a punt. Butker can't get the kickoff right. He gets an extra point block because the offensive line's in the wrong place. Special teams has been a nightmare this year, and maybe more than anything else. I guess that might be overselling it, but as much as anything else, part of the reason the Chiefs have not won close games against good teams this season is because they are not winning the hidden game, the special teams battle. And I mean, how many times over the years have we been able to count on them doing that? Counted on Harrison Butker making the big kick, or Matthew Wright or Spencer Schrader making a big kick last year. It could be anybody. But you can always count on the Chiefs winning the special teams battle. They have been atrocious this year. They're losing the field position battle every week because they can't cover or return. And they're leaving points on the field every week as a result. So, yeah, when will Dave Toub be held accountable? I wish I could tell you, but not a moment too soon. If you ask me, they've been wretched on special teams. And that stuff gets you beat against good teams. That stuff gets you beat against close games or in close games. Like I said at the very top, I still believe, I've seen it and you have too. We watched a 6-week stretch after the Chiefs started 0-2 with, again, 2 one-score losses to good teams. That version of the Chargers better than the one that currently exists due to injury. They went 5-1 in a 6-game stretch. Mahomes was playing like the MVP favorite. They weren't just winning these games. They were punking teams in a way we really didn't see them do last year, just beating teams up, just flexing their muscle for 60 minutes of football. And again, against good teams too, against a Detroit team that's a legitimate Super Bowl contender, beating them to sleep, beating Baltimore to sleep. The Chiefs in that 6-week stretch looked like the best team in the NFL, and it didn't look like there was even maybe a close second. But you are not your best 5 games or your best 6 games. You're the sum total of your entire season. The sum total of this entire season to date is a 5-5 record. So if you can only get to your best every other game, what does it matter how good your best is? It matters in this context. The Chiefs better get to it next week because they got a good Colts team coming in off a bye. And I can tell you this, I bet that Chiefs team doesn't come, or this Colts team doesn't come in off their bye as lackadaisical as the Chiefs were yesterday in a game that they know matters. I guess that's what I can't square at the end of the day. The reason this feels so frustrating is not because, and we'll talk about what it means in the division. The division's over is what it means. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the program. And that's not why it's frustrating. And it's not frustrating because it's Denver and it was really fun beating those guys at every single turn for the first 6 years of the Mahomes era. And beyond that, frankly. No, that's not why yesterday's performance is frustrating. It's not frustrating to lose another one-score game. It's not frustrating to lose to a team that I think is not better than the Chiefs at their best. No. The frustration comes from that's what you came out with 2 weeks to get ready, with 2 weeks to prepare, and the knowledge that a loss yesterday meant that the divisional race was all but over, meant that the odds of making the playoffs are now just better than a coin flip for the 3-time defending AFC champions. You knew all that going into the bye, and you come out of the bye looking like that? I almost can't believe it. I almost can't believe that was a Kansas City Chiefs team that came out of the bye looking like the way they did. In a game that meant that much, looking like that. Bad game plan, lack of focus, lack of communication, lack of execution, lack of everything that helps you win a ball game on the road against a good team. I can't believe that's the Kansas City Chiefs we're talking about. I can't believe that's the 3-time AFC champions that we're talking about in that context. That's the frustration. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with your reaction. Again, text line 785-272-9429. A lot of comments on the YouTube as well. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube in the live chat that we'll get to here. Matt Verderame, our NFL Insider, is going to join us in just a little while. We got a lot more to say about this one. We got some college football and college hoops to talk about. We got what is wrong with you. We got a jam-packed show today. I'm really glad you're here with us on 580 Sports Talk. .330 right at the bottom of the hour here on 580 Sports Talk. Welcome in on this Monday. Coming up in just a moment, Matt Verderame, our NFL Insider, will join us. Try and make sense of that Chiefs effort from yesterday, plus the rest of NFL Week 11. Some thoughts from the YouTube chat. Tyler and Christopher both have some thoughts along a similar vein. Tyler was in early, said, Chiefs look too old to hang with the young guns of the league. Age has caught up to this team fast. Christopher saying, this team looks straight worn out. I don't know if they can come back from that. I don't know that it's said enough that over the past 7 seasons, the Chiefs have played an extra season of football, literally 17 additional games. in the playoffs under Mahomes. Like 8 seasons of football in 7. It's a lot of football. And I think that does add up. I think that does take a toll. That sounds like excuse making after a loss, but I do think broadly there is something to that idea of maybe aging players a little quicker, or maybe just not being able to get up for things like you used to be able to get up for them. I want to talk more about that. We're going to get into that a little later in the week because I want more time to explore that thought that there's a reserve, there's a well that you tap into it, and eventually there's nothing to tap into. And wonder if maybe the Chiefs' well is starting to run a little bit dry. Andrew in the YouTube comments, why couldn't the Chiefs just run the ball on 3rd and 1 or at all during the game? Denver was daring them to. Yeah, and Kareem Hunt ran it well. Man, I give Kareem Hunt a ton of credit. He got banged up on a run early. He went down pretty hard on his shoulder. You could tell he was hurt. He came out of the game. Elijah Mitchell, Chiefs debut, immediately drew a penalty, committed a penalty. So, I can kind of understand why he hadn't been playing, why the Chiefs didn't trust him much. So I give Kareem Hunt a lot of credit. And yeah, like 3rd and short, the Chiefs have been really good about just keeping the ball on the ground this year. And they had a 2nd and 2 on their first field goal drive, and they ended up not converting it because they ran it and were stuffed on 2nd down. Then they didn't run it again on 3rd. There was another 3rd and 1 later in the game where they didn't run the ball, and I don't have a great answer for you. I don't think they put Mahomes in a great position on some of the 3rd downs, particularly the 2 on their 3 and outs late in the game, especially the last one. 4th and 8 and 3rd and 8, like you need a play there, but these long developing routes against a team that you knew was going to blitz, like what do you expect? You got to have some kind of safety valve option. There wasn't anything there. Paul says Chiefs absolutely must run the table now to have a shot at the wild card. 11-6 isn't going to do it, especially losing every current tiebreaker scenario. They can't be Indy stick forks in them. Paul also expresses his gratitude that he doesn't have to worry about spending money on playoff tickets this year. First time since the 13 seconds game, I won't have a home game to go to in January. Yeah, that you don't play at home if you're a 5th, 6th, or 7th seed unless some weird stuff happens on the other side of the bracket. That is a fact. I think 10-7 still probably gets them in because I don't think the Jaguars are good for much better than 500 football. Well, gosh, even if they do go 500, 10-7, they still have the tiebreaker. So, yeah, it might. You have to go 11-6 to feel good, I think, if you're the Chiefs. Chargers may slide out of that, too. Chargers may end up with 7 losses, especially if the Chiefs beat them later on this year, which I think they will. Like, that's the thing about this. The Chiefs are still going to be favored in their final 7 games this season, I think. Because they get all their tough ones the rest of the way at home. The road games are not particularly daunting. So they could still be favored in their final 7 games. Like, it's not out of the question that they run the table. But if that's how they responded yesterday to the stakes in that game, how can you be certain they're going to respond next Sunday against the Colts? Or Thanksgiving at Dallas, or Christmas against the Broncos? How can you be sure that they're going to respond in the proper fashion in those games when that was the response we saw yesterday? And that's where I think I kind of land, like, big picture. Like, yesterday's loss isn't a season ender. Like, don't make vacation plans for January or anything. You're not going to buy playoff tickets because they're not going to win the division. But I don't think yesterday's loss is a season ender, but it's so discouraging that the Chiefs came out of their bye and looked like that against a team that I did not think was vastly superior. One thing, look, if I thought the Broncos were better, like if they had been favored, like Vegas knows, right? The Chiefs were favored yesterday. Vegas knows. Chiefs are the better team. They're favored by 3.5, 4 points. But you got 2 weeks to prepare for a hostile environment, for a game that all but decides the division, and come out flatter than day old Pepsi. And that just runs counter to everything I believe I know about this team, everything they've been for 7 years in the Reid Mahomes era, everything they've been, everything they've accomplished. And now it's all kind of thrown into question about, can they access that with 7 games to go and just make the playoffs, give themselves a chance to get back to that 4th Super Bowl this year? Feels a very long way away right now. We'll take a break. Matt Verderame joins us next at 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by our NFL insider on 580 Sports Talk. His name is Matt Verderame. He covers the league for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can also catch him on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network and his own subscribers-only Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. He joins us every Monday here on the program. And Matt, what I'm having trouble comprehending, wrapping my head around this afternoon, even with about 24 hours elapsed since the Chiefs' 22-19 loss to the Broncos, is how that was the effort the Chiefs came out of the bye with. That is, I think, the thing that I'm having the most trouble wrapping my brain around. How in the world do the Chiefs, knowing what was at stake, knowing what could happen to their playoff chances if they lost that game, how do they come out so sloppy and undisciplined and lose that game?
Look, I've been the guy all year that sat here and said, even at 0-2 and at 2-3, like I thought they would be fine. They'd win the division. They'd certainly make the playoffs. And I'm to a point with them. I can't say it anymore. I don't know that they'll make the playoffs. It could. The division's gone. But I think the answer to your question, I think it's a longer conversation, but the cliff notes of it all, I think they are just worn out. I think they are spent emotionally, mentally, because when you're doing what they're doing, they're not losing because they don't have talent. Like, yeah, sure, you'd love to be more talented in the front seven, and you'd love to have a dynamic running back. But, like, they're a talented football team. They're losing because they don't focus, and they're not disciplined, and nobody holds anybody accountable, and that's a coach thing at this point. Like, how many times is Juwan Taylor going to line up in Alaska? How many times are you going to do it? 100? 1,000? Going for 2,000? Like, how many times? And nothing changes. To me, like, there were a lot of plays in that game you can look at and go, that play or that play. To me, the 3rd and 15 with Knicks is ridiculous, and that's certainly one of them. I'd argue the play where Taylor got called for an illegal formation penalty, biggest play of the game. If he doesn't get called for that, they have 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. And they're going to score. Hunt's running the ball great. Hunt's great in short yards. That's going to be 13. And instead, Mahomes throws one of the worst picks of his career. The thing goes the other direction. Denver then scores, and the Chiefs are playing catch-up. In a game, I think if they score a touchdown, then they probably win. Now the game's flipped. They can play defense a lot differently. But, this is the 3rd time this year they've lost a game where they've taken 10-plus penalties. And that is just details and focus and preparation and accountability. And this team, for all their talent in certain areas, they seem to have none of those other qualities.
The Chiefs now fall to 0-5 in one-score games, and it was not for a lack of opportunity. There have been games this year where Patrick Mahomes never got the opportunity to get on the field and try to lead that comeback from down a score or with the game tied. They had 2 chances. They had one with the ball and the lead, and then they had another after the game got tied, and then the Chiefs went 3 and out both times. And Mahomes also hasn't delivered in that spot in other instances this season. Has been a great 4th quarter quarterback this year. I don't think he's forgotten how to play the position. I don't think it's a lack of talent around him. Why is it that you think the Chiefs have not been able to execute offensively? And we can even narrow it specifically to the Denver game. Why could they not even get a first down with 2 chances to go, either put the game away or untie and win it?
Well, look, I think it's the easy way out. The easy way to just say, well, it's coaching, because, like, it's kind of ambiguous and hard to prove. I don't think the coaching was the main reason they lost yesterday. I think the players were the main reason they lost yesterday. But that specific stuff, I think a lot of it was on the coaching. I mean, you watch that game. Hunt's running for 4.5 yards to carry. And they just refused to give him the ball on 3rd and 2 in a spot that you're like, the guy's made for this. Give him the ball. Like, just go for it. Even if you have to go for it twice, even if it's 4th and a yard, okay, fine. Like, they decided not to do that. They're in 2nd and 10, and they're running a play where Kareem Hunt split out wide. They've got 3 tight ends on the field, and Rashee Rice is in the backfield, and the play's designed for Robert Tonyan on 2nd and 10 in a tie game with 4 minutes left. Like, what are you doing? Is the element of surprise that important to you that was the play call in that spot? Like, how in the world is that the play you land on? Like, that's money time. That's your best play to Kelsey, your best play to Rice, maybe your best play to Xavier Worthy. You're drawing it up from Robert Tonyan? Are you kidding me? And that's where, to me, with the Chiefs, I think it's a combination of being mentally exhausted. I think it is a combination of just being worn out. I think the coaching staff has to look within themselves, and I think it's too late at this point because they just had their bye week. Like, you got to do something different. What you're doing is not – and in fact, no, listen, I think he's one of the greatest D coordinators of all time. He doesn't escape blame either. You're in 3rd and 15, and you're spot dropping 7 guys and stuff. Just blitz them. It's Bo Nix. Bring 6 guys. Force the ball out of his hands. Like, to sit there and just let him have 5 seconds to throw the ball is nuts. Any NFL quarterback's going to find somebody eventually. So I don't know what the plan was. I don't know what they were doing in the last 5 minutes from a coaching standpoint. It cost them.
Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated is our guest, our NFL insider, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Something that I didn't get to in my open today, but I want to ask you about this. It really feels like something we haven't talked a ton about this year, but it really jumped out yesterday, how unsettled the Chiefs secondary is right now. Brian Cook has been in and out of the lineup. He was an every down player yesterday. We saw a ton of Chris Roland Wallace. We saw 0 snaps for Noel Williams. That tells me they're still tinkering on the back end, and it's not a good time to be tinkering. It's week 11.
Yeah, look, you don't, I wouldn't even call it tinkering. Like, they played Noel Williams 44 snaps in Buffalo and then turned around and just benched him out of the bye week for a guy that for 2 months they have basically told you is useless. They're not going to play him. They don't trust him. They don't believe in him. They signed him to a $20 million contract and basically spent every week spend a minute telling you in a press conference, boy, doesn't play because he doesn't know the playbook. Apparently, magically, Christian Fulton just learned all the plays in a week, and to the point that they played him as a full-blown starter. What sense does that make? What world do they live in? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about the coaching staff. I just don't understand what they're doing. Noah Gray is playing over 50% of snaps this year. Noah Gray's 100 receiving yards. He's getting paid $18 million in his current contract. Like, the way they coach doesn't match what their personnel is. It makes no sense. It is bizarre. It is weird. And you're to a point, you got to commit. Like, whatever you're doing, you got to commit. They're probably going to have to win 6 of their last 7 games just to make the playoffs. Now, could they do it? Sure. They could do it. I don't think they will. They could. But you've got, like, whatever you're going to do here going forward, you got to do it now. Not in week 15. Like, you don't have the luxury you've had most of these years. You could just tinker forever because you're 11-2. And so, what they want is still out in front of them. It's clearly going to be a much harder path than normal. But their actions, both as players and coaches, do not give you a whole lot of faith that they're going to turn around the ship.
At least Christian Fulton didn't give up 2 20-plus yard completions, including a long one to Troy Franklin on a touchdown drive that gave Denver the lead for good.
Huge.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Matt Verderame joining us here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's take a look around the rest of the league. It was a big weekend on paper, and a lot of the games delivered in Week 11, but I don't know that we got a lot of clarity in the NFC from the results of Rams, Seahawks, and Lions, Eagles. Eagles beating the Lions, the Rams beating the Seahawks by 2. Did those results and the way those games unfolded offer any clarity about the hierarchy in the NFC?
Not really. I would agree. I don't think it did. No, I mean, the Eagles continue to look like the offense doesn't understand what the object of the sport is. And yet they just keep winning. Like, I was in Green Bay on Monday night watching that offense thinking, how is this team winning any games? But the defense is doing enough. The offense has a play here, play. The Eagles remind you, and I'm not the first one to come with this comparison, they remind you so much of the Chiefs from a year ago, where you watch them and you're like, I have no idea how they keep winning, but they just keep winning. The Lions, I will say this that concerns me about the Lions. And I remember Chris Collinsworth saying this on NBC during the Lions-Chiefs game about a month ago. He said, and I agree with him, he said, if Goff has to just drop back and throw the ball, that's not where they want to be. It's not how they want to play. That's a huge problem. Like, when you have all that talent around you, you should be fine being there. You may want to run the ball, but that should be fine. And I think Collinsworth was bang on a month ago, and you watched that game last night. Goff couldn't complete a pass. He couldn't do anything. I mean, half his yardage was to Jahmyr Gibbs. And you're watching that game. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown had 12 targets last night. He had 2 catches. That's impossible. I mean, that guy is a Hoover vacuum of a receiver. 12 targets and 2 catches. And so, look, the Lions, I think, their ceiling's high. The Lions are kind of the NFC's version of the Chiefs right now. We look at them and just go, ceiling's high, but, like, also what's happening? The Rams and the Seahawks, I do think the Rams are probably the best team in the league right now, but they also won by 2 in a game that Sam Darnold got picked off 4 times. And I don't know, it's kind of the eye of the beholder, right? Like, Darnold's been really good the last 2 years, but every time he's in a big game, he kind of turns into a pumpkin. Like, is that like just a weird small sample size thing, or is that a major problem? And then with the Rams, you'll look at them and go, they could be undefeated if they could kick a field goal, but they struggle with that. And then it's just the nature of this season. Look, I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl for the year, so I believe in them. You also look at them and go, could they lose a 2-7 game to the Lions in the first round? Yep. And that's kind of the nature of the league this year, where there's probably 10 teams that could either go to the Super Bowl or lose the first round of the playoffs.
Over back in the AFC, the Jaguars poleaxed the Chargers in a battle between 2 teams that right now are keeping the Chiefs out of the playoffs because they have virtual 2-game leads over the Chiefs in the standings. Which of those teams is likelier to play their way out of a postseason berth? Because it looks like the Chargers might just be at a point where they're maybe a little bit too banged up to recover. But also the Jaguars have a track record of this kind of stuff and blew a 28-point the fourth quarter to the Texans the week before. So which of those teams is likeliest to play their way out of a playoff spot that right now the Chiefs are hoping to get?
If the Chargers were healthy, I would say Jacksonville for sure. But I think to what you just said, I think we're kind of to a point of no return here with the Chargers. They can't block anybody. I mean, they cannot. Jacksonville does not have a great pass rush. All their metrics have them in like the bottom quarter of the league. And you look at the numbers, you go, 2 sacks and 5 hits. Okay, they annihilated Herbert in that game. Herbert was running for his life every time he dropped back. Look, I just think the Chargers also, too, their schedule is tough. I mean, make of it what you will going to Arrowhead at this point, whether that's an easy or hard game, I don't know. But they've got to go to Arrowhead. They've got to play Philly. They've got to go to Denver. They've got to go to Dallas, which, look, say what you will, like Dallas isn't a good team, but you could see Dallas hanging 40 on the Chargers. I have no idea if the Chargers can keep up with them. They've got to play Houston. Again, I don't think Houston's even good. I don't think Houston's a playoff team. But I'll tell you right now, they're going to hit Herbert in that game. I mean, they're just going to tee off. So I think the Chargers could very well end up 9-8. You know, I think if the Chiefs are going to leapfrog one of these teams, they could leapfrog both of them or one of them. I think the Chargers are the best bet right now, just strictly because if the Chiefs do beat them in their rematch, then they both have 5 losses essentially, and it's a match race. And I think the Chiefs' schedule is so much easier than the Chargers' schedule the rest of the year. Yeah, I think the Chargers would be the team you'll look at and go, yeah, those injuries to the tackles just killed them.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. You can also catch him on That Football Show and the KC Sports Network and his own subscriber-only Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. He joins us every Monday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, it's always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We will step aside for one last break, come back, and wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk with the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was. The good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was, wrapping up this first of 3 hours on 580 Sports Talk. The good, the DePaul Fighting Tigers, victorious for a 4th straight year in the greatest rivalry football game in America, the Monon Bell Classic. Punked those boys from Wabash College. 41-20 is the final score. DePaul even let them score first as a gesture of goodwill. Let them go down the field, score in their opening drive, and then beat them to sleep the rest of the game. It was 41-14 before they then, again, sportingly let Wabash have a little consolation touchdown the final 3 minutes as a treat. 4 straight wins in the Monon Bell Classic for the DePaul Tigers over Wabash. That is the first senior class to sweep their Bell games since 2000. The terms of that rivalry have completely turned on its head. There was a time not too long ago, Wabash, I get those two confused a lot now these days for obvious reasons. Wabash had beaten DePaul 9 out of 10, and that was not cool. I didn't enjoy that, I got to say. It's a proud DePaul alum. But now we punked those boys 5 out of 6 years, and now they got to be sad in their own stadium with no shirt on and those stupid candy-striped red overalls looking like dorks, because they're dorks, and they're losers. There's only one football game I really care about and only one team I really hate, and it's the Wabash College Little Giants. And it does my heart good to see DePaul beat them to sleep. Tigers in the playoffs. They play Lance Leipold's former team, the Wisconsin Whitewater. What are they, the Purple Hawks or something like that? I don't remember what their mascot is. I used to know all this stuff. But they play Wisconsin Whitewater in the playoffs in a couple of weeks. They have a first-round bye. So shout out to my Tigers. Ring that bell, baby. The bad, Sam Darnold is who we thought he was. The ugly, Chiefs might not make the playoffs, man. Like, we're going to talk about that to lead off 4 o'clock hour, but it's a coin flip right now. Just better than a coin flip's odds at this point for the Kansas City Chiefs to make the playoffs. I still think they're going to. I would bet on them making the playoffs, but it's okay to have a healthy feeling of doubt after the way they came out of their bye and lost to the Broncos in a game they basically gave away with their own sloppiness and their own inconsistency. We'll talk that. We'll talk some college football. We'll do What Is Wrong With You. That's all coming up in hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk after this. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're with you until 6. We'll hand things off to the K-State Sports Network from Learfield at that point. K-State basketball in action tonight. The men hosting Tulsa at Bramlage Coliseum. 7 o'clock tip-off. You can hear it right here on your home for the Cats, 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. I am Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is in the box for the rest of the show today.
I'm here. It's been a few days.
It has been a few days.
We recorded the betting segment early on
we
Friday.
did. We did a lot of pre-roll on Friday. That was a bit of a hectic day. We were all over the place. How did you enjoy Edmond, Oklahoma?
It is, I'm going to say this, it's a very interesting place.
The suburb.
But it's like a weird suburb because, we're radio people. We don't make a lot of money, and they don't allow us to sit in the, to stay in the nice hotels.
I don't know.
Per se. We stay in like the average hotel.
Well,
nothing.
They ain't a
we're
Ritz
not staying
in Edmond, Oklahoma.
I'm not staying in the Hilton, right? So I'm not staying in downtown Edmond. So I'm staying like just south of Edmond. And it's like
just south of Edmond? That's Oklahoma City.
No, like in between. Like it's Edmond, but it's like south of the town.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
And I'm by like a truck stop, right? Right off of the interstate, right by a truck stop.
Sure.
Which is fine and dandy because
salt of the earth. Yeah.
Like it's right off the interstate. So it's perfect for me to get there, check in before the game on Friday. I am trying to get to the arena, and I'm like, wow, I'm driving by all these bougie neighborhoods with gates and stuff. I'm like, whoa, where am I? I went from like a trucker area to immediately like a very bougie neighborhood that I was driving along.
There's money in Edmond.
So I was just confused, and then I got into Edmond, and I was like, okay, this is like a normal, like, here's your strip mall, here's your food places, like Wanamaker.
No, it's a nice suburb. Yeah.
It was just kind of confusing.
And a lot of money at UCO too. The facilities at UCO.
Oh, they were really nice. I think I texted this to you guys. I had to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom on the main level. I felt like I walked into a country club bathroom. It was very nicely like tiled everywhere.
Did anybody offer you a mint?
No, unfortunately not that far. But I did think I ever had the best burger I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
At the garage.
Okay.
It was really good. And I took it to go too. So it would have been even better if I had sat in the restaurant and eat it.
On the court, Washburn went 1-1, needed a fourth quarter rally to get over on Southwest Minnesota State, but get out of a tough event against some good teams with a 500 record. Laura Wrestling squad. They'll take that.
Yeah.
Saw a win for the Bods.
Yeah, and Yabari Wadada gets her 1,000th career point in the first game. She got into foul trouble, so you didn't see a lot of her on the court in that game. Then the second game, she got into a little early foul trouble. I think Coach Wrestling was being a little cautious and took her out late in the first quarter. Didn't play her a lot of the second quarter, but second half she was rolling. I guess it's Cogbera.
Brittany Cogbera, yeah.
I was saying Cogbara, excuse me. Very, very great player if you can't have Bari. Like, filled in, transfer in, very much so, like, has had a great offseason with the team because it was kind of like that Bari, besides her height, was still on the court. Like, what they were doing are pretty similar, and it didn't seem like you lost that part of the game.
Saturday was a pretty good day to be a Washburn Ichabod. Volleyball won the MIAA League Championship. The Washburn men won on Saturday. I was down in Pittsburgh for that one. They beat the brakes off of Winona State. They are killing people. Washburn has won 4 games by an average of 31 points per game. They are beating people to sleep. And anybody can get it. Rockhurst, you're next Wednesday night at the remodeled Lee Arena. That's the home opener for the Ichabods, by the way. Get out there and see them.
I saw a little bit of the video that our friend from Cap Journal, Liam, put out there this morning.
Oh, yeah. The new gym looks sick.
It does. Yeah. They got a banner, like a video banner board.
Yeah,
like a
go
ribbon.
see it. Go see it and go see that team. They are awesome, man. They are 4-0. They look every bit the part of a national championship contender under Brett Ballard. Washburn football won their regular season finale. That was great to see with a late fourth quarter score. beating Missouri Southern on the road. So, yeah, Saturday was a really good day to be in Ichabod. Somebody pointing out in the text line as well from the 785 that it was a great weekend for Washburn Athletics, and it surely was. And we all got involved with the coverage. So that was a lot of fun across our Connoisseur Media Topeka family of stations. That was all more fun than what the Chiefs did on Sunday. We're dragging our feet a little bit, getting back into the Chiefs. We're going to talk about them here in this 4 o'clock hour. We're going to talk K-State football, too. They were victorious on Saturday. It wasn't pretty, and I have some issues with the offensive game plan. But when you're in the position Kansas State is in, you're not in a position where you need to be apologizing for winning football games. So we'll get into that, and proof, I think, that indeed, as I had suspected, as I had hypothesized last week going into this final 3-game stretch, that the Wildcats are going to continue to play with pride, if nothing else. Plus, what is wrong with you is coming up this hour as well. We want to hear from you, 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the live chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk, the name of the YouTube channel. Go like and subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything but a click. And holler at us in the YouTube chat if you are watching live during the show on YouTube. We have an old friend, a former producer of this program, named Marco Marquez. Some of you longtime listeners might remember Marco. This is a little before your time spent. This is before COVID, in fact. Marco was our producer. He produced the show for a couple of years, started as an intern, and he has stayed on as our producer. This is back in the 580 Sports Talk Classic era when it was Jake LeBon and Brendan and I for 4 hours a day. We call it the Classic era because, I don't know, we're arrogant, I guess. I don't know why.
Hey, there's a small window of time where Brendan, Dan, and Brendan, you and me, we did a 4-hour show.
We used to do 4
hours.
Small
window of time, though.
And then it was, I think we started calling it that because we had gone to the 2 show. We'd gone to the split, the great schism, the great 580 Sports Talk schism of 2022 when we had the 2 shows. So then when Fulton Castor left us, we went back to the 4-hour show. We were calling it 580 Sports Talk Classic. So that's what that's a relic of. But anyway, this was back in those days. Marco Marquez was our producer. And we used to give Marco Marquez a lot of grief because Marco had a habit. He liked to buy the division champs gear for the Kansas City Chiefs. Every year that the Chiefs would win the division, he would buy the division champs shirt. And once the Chiefs started, frying bigger fish, going to Super Bowls, winning Super Bowls, he gave Marco some grief. Like, man, you have to buy the division champs stuff, man. Like, nobody buys division champs shirts. Like, come on, man. Go, save your money for the big haul. Buy the Super Bowl champ stuff. At least wait, because he would always get it right away. Like, he'd show up on Monday with the division champ shirt. It's like, you can wait. Like, hold your water, see if they go win something bigger. And then if they don't, then that division champ stuff will go on discount, right? And you can buy it at a discount. But Marco would do it every single year. And I haven't talked to Marco in a long time, so I don't know if he still does it. But I presume, because Marco, like all of us around here, we commit to the bits. And he was pretty committed to the bit of buying the division champs gear every year. I don't know what he's going to do with his $30 this year because he's not going to have to buy a new shirt. The AFC West race, at least as it pertains to the Kansas City Chiefs, is over. And that means Chiefs are going to have to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs if they get there at all. And I believed after Travis Kelce scored his touchdown in the fourth quarter yesterday, I believed when the Chiefs got the ball back with 4 minutes left in a tie game, if you asked me right then who's going to win the AFC West, I would have told you with the utmost certainty the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Central. I would have told you before the West, excuse me, and they're not the Kansas City Royals. They don't play in the AL Central. They play in the AFC West. I would have told you they're going to win the West. Before the 3rd and 15 on the final Denver drive, when Steve Spagnuolo inexplicably decides not to put any pressure on one of the most skittish quarterbacks in the NFL, Bo Nix. Before that 3rd and 15 snap, if you had asked me who's going to win the AFC West, I would have said the Kansas City Chiefs, and I would have said it with the utmost confidence. But now the math, as the kids say, ain't mathing for the Chiefs. They are 5-5. The Broncos are 9-2. That is a virtual 4-game lead, considering that the Broncos have the tiebreaker for the moment because they are 1-0 against the Chiefs this year. And the schedule the rest of the way for the Broncos, because they're in full control of this, just doesn't point to the Broncos losing enough games. This is the Broncos schedule the rest of the way. Next week, they're on the bye. Then after that, they're at Washington.
Which, by the way, is still going to be on a Sunday night.
They haven't flexed it yet?
They're not going to, per sources.
Well, per sources, I will be finding something else to do with my Sunday night. The source is me. I'm the source. They're at Washington. They're at the Raiders. They're at home against Green Bay. They're at home against Jacksonville. They're at Kansas City. And they're at the Chargers. Realistically, looking at those 6 games, I can't find more than 3 possible losses. I can't do it. I don't think they're going to lose to the Marcus Mariota-led Commanders.
Hey, it might. You never know. They might throw Jaden Daniels back out.
They would be insane to do that. It would be at the Raiders. They're not losing that game. They're not losing at home to Jacksonville. I don't think really they're losing to the Chargers. The only reason that game's in the possible loss bucket is because it would be maybe the Chargers playing desperately looking for a playoff spot. Green Bay and Kansas City represent their 2 toughest games the rest of the way. But Denver's defense, as we saw yesterday, it's good enough to go 4-2 in that stretch. I think at a bare minimum. If they do that, nothing the Chiefs does matters. I mean, they're not winning the division. Doesn't matter what the Chiefs do.
They're the 2025 version of the 2024 Chiefs.
No, that's the Eagles. That's the Eagles.
No, I'm talking about in small game margins. They've now won 3 straight games by 3 or less points.
They are, again, like, I don't think they're better than the Chiefs. Vegas doesn't think they're better than the Chiefs. Advanced metrics don't think they're better than the Chiefs. They play better than the Chiefs on yesterday, and they deserve to win the game. The Chiefs beat themselves. Bozo mode Chiefs are frequently the toughest Chiefs opponent themselves. This is a recurring theme for years. We shouldn't be surprised when we see it. The only surprise about seeing it is the context in which we saw it yesterday, where that game was out of a bye for the Chiefs, and it meant everything. Because losing the game, you see what that has done. You go anywhere you can find playoff odds, the Chiefs are barely better than a coin flip right now to make the postseason. And the division, it's not happening. Barring a run of bad injury luck to the Broncos, it isn't happening. They're not catching the Broncos. They could beat the Broncos on Christmas at Arrowhead, and I think they will. It won't matter. It won't matter at that point. And I think the division might even be wrapped up for the Broncos by that point. They'll be playing for the bye in the AFC playoffs. The bye is going to come down to them or the Patriots. You could have made a lot of money on that before the season began. And earlier in the first hour of the show, I said, this is maybe the most discouraging loss of the Reid Mahomes era. And I chose that word very carefully, discouraging, because there have been frustrating losses. There have been bad losses. There have been inexplicable losses where you feel like that. I cannot believe the Chiefs lost that game. I can't believe the Chiefs found a way to lose that game. The Chiefs have lost to inferior teams before. They've lost coming out of the bye before. They've lost divisional games before. None of this is new. They can all be frustrating. And yesterday, again, certainly falls in the category of frustrating. But I chose the word discouraging specifically because the only other loss in the Mahomes era that I can compare yesterday to was the Christmas Day loss to the Raiders 2 years ago, where the Chiefs were bad. They were at home against a sorry Raiders team, and they stunk out the joint. They couldn't stop the run. And the Raiders didn't throw a pass in the fourth quarter of the game. They threw one pass in the second half. It was something like that. Something ridiculous. Aiden O'Connell was playing quarterback, and they had him out there running a high school offense, just running the veer, essentially. Just handing the ball off to Zaire White. Never forget Zaire White, no matter what he does the rest of his NFL career, because he savaged the Chiefs in that game. And Mahomes was terrible. He threw a pick six. He had another turnover that led directly to a Raiders score, and they lost that game. And it was so late in the season, and it meant that the Chiefs weren't going to have home field advantage. We're going to have to go on the road. And it felt in that moment like everything that we assumed, everything that we thought about the Chiefs leading up to that moment in that season with all of the other evidence of the seasons and the successes beforehand, all of a sudden that was thrown into flux. All of a sudden you doubted whether the Chiefs really had it in them when they lost that Christmas Day game to the Raiders 2 years ago. And, of course, the epilogue to that story and the silver lining in the cloud here on this Monday is that team did, in fact, have it in them and went on to win the Super Bowl, winning at Buffalo, winning at Baltimore in the playoffs, and beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So, again, it's like I said, this isn't a season-ending loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. They want to get into the playoffs. The standard is winning the Super Bowl. The standard is getting the AFC Championship game and winning the Super Bowl. They've never failed to reach the conference championship game in the Mahomes era. They've won 3 Super Bowls. They've reached 5. They've reached the last 3. We all know this stuff. We can recite it with our eyes closed. All of that remains possible. Just harder than it's ever been. The climb has never been steeper uphill in front of the Chiefs, and it's never started at this stage. And usually, this time of year, the Chiefs are doing some tinkering and maybe messing around and trying some new things, and they can afford a little margin of error because they lead the division by 3 games. And they know they're going to be at home, and they know they're probably going to get the bye, and they can do that. They can mess around, and then when November and December show up, late November, December, they can snap into it and say, all right, it's go time. It's time to start getting sharp for the games that really matter. And then they do, and then they win all those games. We've seen it time and time again. But the fact that yesterday's game meant so much, that there were real stakes and real consequences for a loss in this game that really haven't faced the Chiefs very often. A lot of times they lose a regular season game, you shake it off. Even 0-2 start this year. Yeah, I know what the numbers say historically, but come on, it's the Chiefs. We were all kind of shrugging at it, shaking it off, saying it doesn't really matter. This is not a Taylor Swift joke, by the way. It's not a Taylor Swift reference. Not intentionally, anyhow. But this game, losing this game has real consequences for the Kansas City Chiefs. And they knew that would be the case when they left for their bye week after they lost at Buffalo. And they still came out this sloppy, this undisciplined, this indecisive, this poorly coached, this poorly executing, that they played like that they weren't capable of better than that with the week off beforehand in a game like this. Sows seeds of serious doubt that the Chiefs are up for it here in 2025. And maybe you're wired a little differently than me, but I've had the pretty constant setting during Chiefs seasons ever since they went to that first conference championship game with Mahomes and then went to the Super Bowl and won it the next year. I have operated on a base setting of the Kansas City Chiefs can win the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs are a Super Bowl caliber team. Their best football, better than just about everybody else's. This team can win the Lombardi Trophy. And there have only been 2 games in the last 7 years, in the last 6 really, that have shaken that faith. And one was the Christmas Day game against the Raiders 2 years ago, and the second was yesterday's. So that's why I call it maybe the most discouraging loss of this era of Chiefs football. Because we've always been able to assume, and it's backed by history here. We're not assuming this out of nothing. This isn't blind faith. We've always assumed that even in defeat, the Chiefs would be able to pick up the pieces, would be able to, as Andy Reid is so fond of saying in his post-game remarks, we'll get this fixed. We'll get it fixed, and we'll move on to next week. We have been able to operate from the understanding that they will indeed do that because they always do that. Superman doesn't die until the one time he does.
So I just want to make sure I'm correct before I say anything. Matt Nagy is the play caller, correct?
Andy Reid is the play caller. Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator.
So Andy Reid doesn't call, or Andy Reid calls the plays into.
I don't know who calls. I actually don't know who calls plays into Mahomes. But it's Andy. The buck stops on offense with Andy Reid. So it doesn't matter who's saying what into Mahomes' earpiece. The buck stops with Andy Reid. It's his offense.
It just seems like the offense is getting stale.
That's interesting word choice. That's one that I was talking to Brendan off the air, and we both kind of landed on that word. And I think there's a longer discussion to be had there. I don't necessarily. It's too talented to be really and truly stale. Like, okay, yeah, they've been throwing in breakers to Travis Kelce for 13 years. Well, guess what? He's still really good. He had 9 for 91 and a touchdown yesterday. He ran through Talanoa Hufanga, which nobody does, on his way to that go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. Kelce looks great.
Yeah.
Kelce looks like, he is backing up what he said. He said he came back for one more year because he couldn't go out like that in 2024, and he's not. He's not going out. He's not going out like a punk. If this is his last year, it's a vintage or close to vintage as you would expect for a 36-year-old Travis Kelce kind of year. So I don't have anything to complain with Kelce. So I don't necessarily think like
I was referring to what you talked about with Matt Verderame and what he pointed out about a play call and a huge down where you're trying to get it to freaking Robert Tonyan and Noah Gray being on the field for as much as he's on the field
and they don't
for
throw it to him
and not throwing it to him. Like you're just not utilizing and weirdly utilizing people in your offense. I just don't understand it. And then it's like
it's hard to understand. I think that's probably like
their offense is just hard to understand.
It's hard to comprehend. There's a screenshot from the game that was going around social media. I gotta find it. It was on X. Believe it was from Tucker Franklin, who does a lot of Chiefs content on the internet. In fact, I believe he is the co-host of the That Football Show on the KC Sports Network with Matt Verderame. He posted the screenshot, and it went around. It got viral a little bit. 4 minutes to go. Chiefs have a 2nd and 10. And the personnel grouping, it is 13 personnel. So 3 tight ends on the field. So all 3 of your tight ends are on the field. Robert Tonyan and Noah Gray to the left. And then to the right of the formation, you have Travis Kelce in line as a tight end. You have Kareem Hunt and Rashee Rice. Rice is in the backfield, and Kareem Hunt is split out wide.
I don't get it.
That is 2nd and 10 from the 26 in a tie game that decides the division. What the hell is that? Like, I don't ever want to see that look. I just don't understand how you end up in a place where that's what you decide to do with 4 minutes left to tie game against an elite defense on the road. So it's not good. Like, it's not as good. The whole is less on that side of the ball than the sum of its parts. There's no question about that. And we'll talk about why. Again, I think these are longer conversations. We got a whole week to gnaw on this game and only 3 hours today. But I think there's a longer conversation to be had about have the Chiefs taken this whole idea of being aggressive, being AAF. Remember, that was the whole thing a couple of weeks ago before the Buffalo game, being AAF, aggressive as fudge. Have they gone too far in that direction? Do they need to be boring again on offense? Because you know what boring did? Boring went to 3 straight Super Bowls. I'm okay with making the Chiefs offense boring again. Be BAF if that's what it takes. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we got our first round of What Is Wrong With You for the week here on 580 Sports Talk. time for What Is Wrong With You here on 580 Sports Talk, our first stories of a new week. Both myself and Spencer have stories. I'm going to go first. We have had a recent spate of stories of law enforcement officers, high-ranking law enforcement officers, doing really dumb stuff.
And you're good at finding them too.
It's my beat. I'm on the police chief's Breaking Bad beat, apparently, for What Is Wrong With You. We got another one of those stories today. We're going to Western Pennsylvania, where a former chief of police is facing drug and weapons charges after authorities say he was allegedly caught trying to sell cocaine and was also in possession of a stolen law enforcement rifle. Investigators with the state attorney general's office say 56-year-old Eric Doubt, who was reportedly employed as an officer with UPMC, was under police surveillance when he allegedly tried to deal the drugs in Armstrong County. Authorities say he's also alleged to have stolen an AR-style rifle from the evidence locker at his former department in Westmoreland County. Now, I was under the impression, having learned everything I know about policing from movies like Super Troopers and Blue Streak, that police officers just took stuff from the evidence locker all the time for themselves. I thought that was normal behavior. This type of conduct by a trusted officer of the law violates the oath he took to keep our community safe, said the attorney general. As a sworn officer, he was duty-bound to remove those dangers from the community, and instead, we allege he peddled these poisons. Officials say Doubt was arrested earlier this week and is jailed on charges of felony possession with the intent to deliver and receiving stolen property. How do you go from being on the right side of the law to the point where you make a career out of it to flipping bricks, allegedly? Now they're slinging pies and stealing guns out of the evidence locker. That is crazy. I just don't understand what cracks in your brain where you all of a sudden decide, yeah, I'm going to stretch the law a little bit. No man is above the law except me, because I am the law, and that makes me above it. Anyway, that's our first story today. What have you got today?
Yeah, I got an interesting story because this guy is doing something illegal while being distracted and then gets into an accident here. A motorist told police he was busy attempting to urinate into a tall boy Budweiser can when he accidentally plowed into another vehicle on a Montana roadway, according to court records. As detailed in the probable cause affidavit, James Howard, 53, was driving his Chevrolet Suburban on a Missoula roadway when he slammed into the rear of a Volkswagen carrying two passengers. Highway patrol officer who arrived at the crash scene Thursday evening reported seeing Howard with a large Budweiser can in his right hand, which he then moved into the center console. Howard, cops say, handed over the can when asked and said it contained urine, not beer. He further explained that he rear-ended the vehicle because he was attempting to urinate into the beer can while driving. The Volkswagen.
Look, man, you seen the around the beer can? It's kind of sharp.
Yeah.
There's the potential for some real trouble there. Anyway, continue.
The Volkswagen's drivers told cops he was at a stoplight after exiting Interstate 90 when he saw lights approaching in his rearview mirror and told his girlfriend to brace for impact. Howard, who claimed to have consumed only one beer, reportedly smelled of alcohol. His speech was slow and slurred, and his pants were wet with urine. Howard stated that he had more than a couple of DUIs and was not supposed to be driving, the affidavit notes. He also said, I'm going to jail for a bleeping long time.
Yeah.
A police check
self-awareness.
A police check of his driver history showed that his license had been suspended earlier in the month and that he had 4 prior impaired driving convictions. A post-crash intoxilizer test registered his blood alcohol concentration at more than 3 times the legal limit.
You don't say.
He was arrested for aggravated DUI, a felony, a reckless driving, and driving with a suspended license, both misdemeanors. He's being held in jail in lieu of a $10,000 bond.
All right. If the roadway was in Missoula, that means he's close enough to somewhere where he could have maybe held it down. I understand sometimes you get to drinking that much. You know, you break the seal and there's just no stopping it. When you got to go, you got to go. I understand nature calls, all that stuff. But a beer, first of all, a can, any kind, never mind a beer can, putting your stuff anywhere near the lip of a can. That makes me nervous, man. I'm getting sweaty thinking about how much danger he was putting his junk in. And yeah, man, no shock he was 3 times above the legal limit. Goodness gracious.
He's a repeat offender too. Come on, man.
We have Ryan in the YouTube comments and a text from the 785 saying that's straight out of Dumb and Dumber. Good catch, guys. So we've got the Paul's on fire today in the YouTube comments. We have your story, the PUI. And we have my story. Paul called that one Captain and Coke. Vance also with a good one, to protect and snort. He wasn't doing the drugs. He was moving the drugs. Anyway, who we got today? 2 good stories. I'm kind of leaning again. Like I'm going to go with the cop. And here's why. I think your guy might have like a problem. Like,
yeah, but are we sure the cop doesn't got a coke problem?
Well, again, he was selling the drugs. Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah, I'll go with yours.
All right, we're gonna go with to protect and snort the Captain and Coke. That story. Our police chief Breaking Bad in Western Pennsylvania. That's gonna be our winner on What Is Wrong with You today. When we come back, K-State shouldn't apologize for winning that game ugly, but my Lord, was it ugly on Saturday in Stillwater. We'll talk about it next on 580 Sports Talk. 442 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you. We'll get back into the Chiefs in the 5 o'clock hour. Talk a lot more NFL Week 11. Did you get up early to watch the Commanders?
Yes. So I got home surprisingly early on Saturday night. Like I was expecting not to get home till like 8:30, 9 o'clock. But funny enough, so I got on the road, I left the arena, got me some Brahms right off the highway before I left. And then I rolled into the first service station, on the toll road into Kansas from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And the team bus was there as well. So that was, I rolled in and talked to Coach Wesley.
Oh, cool.
So I get home at like 7:40.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there like just trying to watch some college football, and I just like am dead. So I go to sleep at like 9:30. And I woke up at like 8:20, and I was like, all right.
Right time for kickoff.
Time for kickoff.
There you go. Roll right into it.
Yeah, it was good until it wasn't good.
Until the game started. Yeah.
I'm just happy Matt Gay has been cut.
Oh, yeah. It's a kicking game. Never really clicked for the
Nope.
Commanders this year. Anyhow, we got some more NFL coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll take a look at headlines and some K-State hoops coming up tonight. 6 o'clock pregame right here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9, and a 7 o'clock tip-off as K-State takes on Tulsa. But the Wildcats were in action on the gridiron on Saturday, taking on Oklahoma State. Every team that had played Oklahoma State this year that was a Power 4 team had scored at least 38 points against Cowboys. Kansas State scored 14. But that was enough. That was what they needed. Kansas State beats Oklahoma State 14-6. K-State defense forces 5 turnovers in the winning effort. Jace Brown is now out for the season. He caught a pass down the field on K-State's final drive of the first half that led to a missed field goal. Just another bit of sloppiness from a team that was very sloppy on that side of the ball. We'll get to that a little bit here. But Jace Brown was injured, looked like he landed awkwardly, came back out for the second half in street clothes with his arm in a sling, and Chris Kleiman confirmed earlier today that Jace Brown is out for the rest of 2025. So that now leaves Kansas State without, from the start of the season, from the depth chart going into fall, basically. They are down their number 1 wide receiver. They are down their number 1 running back. They are down their number 1 left tackle. Remember, George Fitzpatrick is going to start at left tackle for this team. Never played a game. They are down their starting middle linebacker and best player, arguably, in Austin Romaine. And they are down their best pass rusher, Toby Osasami. To give you a bit more of an idea, I play the video game. College Football 26. I play the video game.
When you're Tulsa.
Yeah, I am. I'm
Hurricane.
still in my 7th year as head coach of the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. I've guided them to the playoff twice. We are in the top 10 in the country. I got a sophomore quarterback who's rated at 90. I'm very proud of my guys.
There you go.
We're looking forward to the challenge of playing UTSA.
You're what?
Looking forward to the challenge
Okay.
of playing UTSA. Yeah.
Heard that one before.
Yeah, you have. Anyway, if you went and bought the game tomorrow, took it out of the box, plugged it in, and you wanted to play as Kansas State, the Kansas State team that you took the virtual field with would be very different. Austin Romaine is the top-rated player on the Kansas State roster on the video game. Dylan Edwards is 3rd. Jace Brown is tied for 5th. Toby Osasami is tied for 11th. George Fitzgerald is tied for 20th. And Jaron Bradley didn't play on Saturday. He's supposed to be back this Saturday against Utah, but he didn't play on Saturday. He's missed some games with an injury. He's tied for the 17th best player on the team. So you're talking about 5 top 20 players on your roster, 5 of your 20 best guys just not playing. And some have missed part of the year. Some have missed all of the year. That puts this Kansas State team, maybe that puts into a little bit more relief just how much of a talent deficit they're working with relative to our expectations for what Kansas State football should be. So,
I mean, that's any team, though. Like, my favorite team in the NFL doesn't have half the starters they were supposed to have. And where are they?
That's not
Bottom of the
any
barrel.
team. That's not any team. Like, there's a difference between the normal injury bug and our best guys are all out.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen to everybody. Yes, there's always.
No, I'm saying like you can compare teams like that. If your best guys are out, it's hard to win games.
Yes, and that's
what I was saying.
Yeah, like there's a reason that Kansas State's 16.5-point dog to Utah coming up on Saturday. And look, the Colorado game is going to be hard. The reason it was hard to put away Oklahoma State is because we look at Oklahoma State, that's one of the worst teams in the country. And not just in the Power Four either. It's one of the worst teams, period, in the country. But Kansas State, missing all of those guys, uncomfortably close talent-wise to Oklahoma State, which is its own problem and one that this program really needs to address. But that's where they're at, and that's why they're 5-5 and on the cusp of bowl eligibility instead of having the season that we all projected for them. Give credit to the defense. Forced 5 turnovers, even if you want to throw out the VJ Payne pick at the end of the first half on what was basically a Hail Mary. 4 big turnovers, 3 of them in scoring range when it was a 1-score game in the second half. The strip sack by Cody Stufflebean inside the 15, monster play in the game. Ryan Davis had the strip sack. He's come along. He's maybe been the one guy who's played the whole season that has taken one of the biggest leaps forward for Kansas State, and that's not a long list of guys, unfortunately, but Ryan Davis has made a leap this year. Daniel Cobbs had the interception on the nonsense halfback pass that Oklahoma State threw, because really Oklahoma State moved the ball pretty good for the better part of that game. They were able to do what they wanted offensively. Then they got into scoring range, and K-State would bow up. You'd see that pride, and they'd make a play. They'd get off the field, and they'd keep Oklahoma State off the scoreboard. They deserve a ton of credit for that. They do. I don't want to take anything away from the defensive performance. Missing their leader and their green dot in Austin Romaine. Missing their most impactful pass rusher. They put that performance together, and I don't care who it came against. You hold a team to 6 points over 60 minutes. You played a damn fine football game. So we'll give them credit. Offensively. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Matt Wells. What are you doing, man? Like, if you saw the throw that ended up being the final play of Jace Brown's season, Avery Johnson in a pocket, stepping up, ripping a dart up the seam. It's a big-time throw. It's one of the throws that not every quarterback in the Big 12 has the ability or the confidence to make. And Avery Johnson can make that throw. He made that throw to Jerron Tibbs in the Sunflower Showdown, helped K-State get out to a lead in that game. Avery Johnson is a very capable quarterback. Matt Wells sees him as somebody who needs training wheels. And the offense, accordingly, is just so limiting to what Avery Johnson can do. All they want to do is RPO with him. So many RPOs. They get so predictable. Early down, RPO. Here comes another RPO. First down, 1st and 10, RPO. They're so predictable. And then when they want to move the pocket, which not a bad idea. Avery Johnson, pretty mobile guy. They want to move the pocket. They cut off half the field, and the rollouts are so slow to develop that teams just string them out, so that if there is an option for Avery Johnson to run, he's only got a sliver of the field to work with, and he can't get anywhere. And then it's just guys hemmed in along the sideline, and Avery Johnson's the better quarterback than the game plans they're giving him, is my belief. And he's got better weapons, even with the loss of Jace Brown. Like, Jerron Tibbs, a good player. The tight ends. K-State's tight ends were dominant last year and looked ready to continue to be dominant this year. And they have largely been non-factors this season in the Matt Wells offense. How does that happen? How does Braden Lofton disappear? How does Lincoln Cure only have 4 or 5 catches, whatever it is? How does Garrett Oakley only have 31 catches this season? I am very, very disappointed with the shape of the Matt Wells offense, because I don't think now Avery Johnson is the offense. That is your best guy, and you have to put him in position to make plays. And time again, Kansas State does not do that. And they treat him like a true freshman quarterback who needs training wheels rather than a high 4-star recruit who's a junior, who's played a bunch of football, and who has the arm talent to make throws that are more than 2-yard flats and 5-yard outs and RPO stick routes. You can't build a whole offense out of that, and you shouldn't when you have a quarterback that good. And that's not to say, like, I know that I'll have some pushback saying that Avery Johnson's a top-end quarterback in the Big 12, because I believe that he is. I believe he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12, which would by proxy make him one of the best in the country. And I know some people will push back on that, and, a lot of Jayhawk partisans might push back on that. But I think he's really, really good, and they should treat him like he's really good because he's their only chance now to be competitive against Utah and maybe even to beat Colorado. Like, Colorado will have nothing to play for in that finale. I think Kansas State still probably beat them, but you're at a dude deficit now if you're Kansas State. You got a lot of dudes wearing street clothes on the sidelines, or in Dylan Edwards' case, not even with the program anymore. You got one certified dude left on that offense. Let him be one. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. If you rode with the 580 Sports Talk crew on our picks this week, you did well for yourself. Treat yourself. Go to Chili's, Applebee's, something like that. Best week of the year for the group on the 580 Sports Talk picks contest. Brendan is 4-0 and is a Dallas cover tonight away from the first, I believe, the first perfect week for any of us this season. Dallas, 3.5-point favorite. That was the Friday line. That's where he got it. In the Latino Super Bowl tonight between the Cowboys and the Raiders, the two most popular teams among members of that particular population.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a home game for the Cowboys there at Allegiant Stadium. There's no doubt about that. So Brendan needs a Dallas cover tonight. He is perfect. Spencer 4-1.
If it wasn't for the leg of Matt Gay,
only the Commanders keep you from a winning week.
Also, if it wasn't for the hands of Mikey Sanders, still, all he had to do was catch that punt.
He hadn't returned a punt all year, had he?
No, Jalen Lane went out with some kind of injury.
I don't even think he returned punts at Michigan.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, apparently, the excuse is the lighting there is weird because it's soccer. It's a soccer stadium.
Always an excuse when you're 3-8, right? There's always an excuse. Anyhow, 4-1, good week for Spencer, so nobody's really making up any ground on him. I was the 2-point conversion at the end of Packers-Giants away from a winning week of my own. Instead, Mr. Push with his 4th of the year, that kept me from a winning week. I ended up 2-2-1 on the year. Totally.
You did get jumped by Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan has more wins than me for sure. I don't know winning percentage-wise. I'll have to do the math, but it might depend on what happens tonight. But, yeah, 2-2-1 for me. Sure bricked it on my lock of the week. Man, Alabama just couldn't stop turning the ball over. Never doubt Sooner Magic, man. I should know. I've been around long enough. I should know that. We got headlines. We got some more Chiefs and NFL talk and a little K-State hoops in the final hour. 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuy hanging out with you here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. However you are consuming the program today, we thank you for being a part of the audience. We thank you for choosing 580 Sports Talk on this Monday. We want to hear from you. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. You can also hit us up on the YouTube comments and the chat. If you are watching the show live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and drop us a line. Let us know what you think. Hop in that live chat. Say hello. We appreciate interacting with you, and we appreciate seeing you interact with us in the YouTube live chat. You can also, on our YouTube channel, check out the instant reaction from last night's Chiefs loss to the Broncos. As is usually the case, the ones where the Chiefs lose in the regular season get more traction than the ones after Chiefs wins. Typically, that's just the way it is. And it's because fans of the other teams want to tune in and see a bunch of crying and anguish and schadenfreude and just kind of bathe in that. So that's how it goes. We understand that's the game. Our highest viewed video of all time, two of our three highest viewed videos of all time are KU instant reactions after Jayhawk basketball losses. Like, it's just the way the game goes. Like, we understand that is what it is. But we certainly have a strong contingent of Denver area teenagers whose mom let them have the computer or use some of their study hall time to log on to YouTube on the school computers with some comments on the instant reaction from
today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah. The 580 Sports Talk social team is also in the comments. Let's just say that 580 Sports Talk team throwing some elbows in the comments as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, subscribe to our channel. You'll always know when we go live if you subscribe to 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Chiefs and the rest of NFL Week 11. Big games on paper. They weren't all great games. They weren't all classics. They were close, but they weren't all classics. Next here on 580 Sports Talk, got the Kansas State Wildcats, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane from Bramlage Coliseum in men's basketball action. Cats trying to stay unbeaten in the non-conference schedule. Pre-game coverage when we're done at 6 o'clock, and then the tip-off at 7 o'clock here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Of course, following K-State basketball, we will play you a tape-played edition of the Chiefs Kingdom Show.
Funny, I'm just going viewing these comments. Funny thing is, they act like we're Chiefs fans. That it's like going to insult us.
Yeah, that's the gag of it, right? Like the whole thing is like. Now, I admit it. I take the Broncos games more personally. Like, those are the 2 days a year where I am the most a Chiefs fan. Those are the games I most want the Chiefs to win. Like, I care if they win because it is funny to me when the Broncos lose. It always has been funny to me when the Broncos lose, and it's deeply annoying to me when the Broncos win. And that's against everybody, frankly. Like, that's my second favorite team has always been whoever plays the Broncos. So yeah, like, it was not all performative anger last night. Like, I was peeved between that and Sam Darnold pissing down his leg in the Seahawks Rams game. I did not enjoy any football, and I was a little mad, and I was ready to throw some elbows in the comments. And then, you know what happened? My kid was doing nude wind sprints up and down the hallway of our house. This little stinker. It's bath time, right? So we got him at his clothes, and he is running up and down the house, giggling his head off, and he goes and he hides behind, like, our living room, there's the corner, and then there's the couch, and then the recliner and a lamp, and he goes and hides in the corner next to the couch behind the recliner, and I come to get him, and he goes behind the couch like a cat.
I'm envisioning this as somebody that has been into your house.
Yes, his little naked butt poking out behind the couch. It's like he didn't even care that the Chiefs are out of the AFC West race or that Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions. And you know what? I hope I can grow up to be just like him someday, where those things don't bother me as much as they do. But, that maybe that's why people have kids, so that sports don't seem as important. They'll always be important, but they don't seem as important when you're chasing a naked toddler around your house.
Yeah.
Really put things in perspective after that instant reaction last night. So anyhow, we've got all that coming up this hour. Again, we want to hear from you, 785-272-9429. You can also comment in the live chat on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. We got to get into some headlines. We got a little breaking college football news to get to. We got some NFL quarterback injury details. And we have the Baseball Hall of Fame ballot for 2026. We're going to get into that here on our headlines. We'll start with the college football headlines. We'll just smash them all together. K-State's game against Colorado, their regular season finale, will be a 6-day selection. So we'll find out when K-State's final home game of the season, the day after Black Friday, will kick off this coming weekend. Again, K-State's game against Utah is a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. That means 1 o'clock pregame coverage from the K-State Sports Network here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. As for the rest of the college football world, the AP Top 25 released earlier today. It's the same top 3 as the week before. Ohio State remains number 1, 57 of the 66 first-place votes. Indiana has 8 of the other 9 votes. They are second. Texas A&M has the other first-place vote. They are third. They came back from a 30-3 halftime deficit to defeat the South Carolina Gamecocks, who I thought were going to be good this year. Turns out there are a lot of quarterbacks we were really, really wrong about in college football this year. And I don't know that we were more wrong. Well, Arch. But I don't know that we were more wrong about any quarterback than we were about Lenore Sellers at South Carolina. Really fun in concept. Can't actually play. That's too bad. Georgia moves up a spot. They pasted Arch Manning in Texas on Saturday, and they are ranked 4th, moving up a spot. Ole Miss rounds out the top 5. Texas Tech up 2 spots. They're in a tie for 6th with Oregon. That's the season watermark for Texas Tech. They beat the holy hell out of UCF on Saturday. They got Jacob Rodriguez a rushing touchdown, openly campaigning for him to get a Heisman Trophy. You know what? I respect it. You may as well. So Texas Tech and Oregon tied for 6. Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama round out the top 10. Bama down 6 after they lost to Oklahoma. The 11 through 15, BYU's up a spot. You heard it here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. If you stayed up late, they beat TCU pretty handily on Saturday night. They are number 11 in the country. Vanderbilt up a spot to number 12. Utah up 2 to number 13. So that's 3 Big 12 teams in the top 15 this season. Miami up 2 spots, number 14. Georgia Tech survived Boston College. They're down a spot to 15. 16 through 20, USC, Texas, Michigan, Virginia, and Tennessee. Michigan jumps all the way from not ranked. No, they stay number 18. I'm sorry. That's what that means. They stay number 18. My apologies. I don't know why. They almost lost to Northwestern at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Virginia 19, Tennessee 20. The rest of the top 25, James Madison, number 21. North Texas into the poll for the first time this year at number 22. Then Mizzou at 23, Tulane at 24, and Houston back into the top 25 at 25.
This is an aside, but did you hear the drama going on with a sports reporting website at James Madison over the weekend?
I did not know.
They decided they had it on good sources that College Game Day was coming to their game on ESPN Plus against, I believe, Washington State, who is not a contender, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so they reported after the game, after their team's game on Saturday evening, that College Game Day would in fact be in Harrisburg this next weekend. And they said official announcement to come soon. Never came because they're going to Oregon.
Yeah. That
I don't know how you get that one really wrong. 2 totally different coasts.
Yeah, that's tough. Anyhow, the other college football note to get to today, it is breaking within really, I believe, since the show started.
Yep.
The first major job, Power 4 head coaching job to be filled in this coaching carousel has been filled. Virginia Tech is in agreement with former Penn State head coach James Franklin to be the new head coach in Blacksburg. I think this is a really good fit because I think Virginia Tech would be thrilled to go 10-2 every year. And James Franklin, one thing about James Franklin is he's going to go 10-2. He's going to lose the two that matter, but he's going to go 10-2. And that sounds really, really good to a Virginia Tech program that has kind of lost its way in the post-Frank Beamer era. So I think this is a good fit of coach and geographic area for recruiting purposes, because obviously, same general part of the country, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, he
and Virginia
digs into the Virginia area. He's a lot of great recruits. Back to his time at Vanderbilt, Trace McSorley followed into Penn State, which wouldn't be surprised if Trace McSorley is on that staff in some way, shape, or possible, because Trace McSorley is done with the NFL. So,
and I think that's a good fit. I think that's a hire, that's a match of program and coach that I think makes a lot of sense. James Franklin will be the next head coach at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I was calling on this for a while. I think right after the I don't know if I said it on air, but I was talking with my buddy who is a pretty big Virginia Tech fan, and I said, "Yo, they're gonna go get James Franklin." Also, James Franklin and Penn State came to an agreement. His buyout's lowered from $49 million to $9 million.
Oh, well, so that saved Terry Pagula $40 million.
Yes.
I'm sure he's thrilled. Anyway, let's go to next headline. Let's get some, how about the college basketball top 25, Spencer?
All right, let's head there right now. Number 1, Purdue moving up a spot as they start the season. They are currently 4-0. Houston drops to number 2 as they were number 1 at 4-0. UConn.
So, quick aside before we go any further, it's nuts to do a weekly AP top 25 in college basketball in the non-conference. It's nuts. Like Houston beat Auburn by 1, Purdue beat Akron by 18. That's the most recent action.
Yeah.
How do we know Purdue is better than Houston enough to leapfrog the two at the top? Like, we don't need to do an every week poll.
I think you need a preseason.
I'm good with a preseason and then one right before you get into conference play, and then you can do it every week.
I'm even saying right after Thanksgiving, because there's a feast week.
Sure, you get a lot of those MTEs. Like,
and you get a lot of good teams playing good teams. So I think that then you do one right before conference play.
It doesn't need to be weekly through the non-conference. Anyway, continue. Purdue number 1, Houston number 2.
UConn stays 3. Arizona moves up 1-4. Duke falls 1-5. They are going to take on Kansas tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. Louisville up 6 to number 6. Michigan falls 1-7. Rounding out the top 10, Illinois jumps 6 to number 8. BYU falls 2 to number 9. Florida at 10. Looking at schools in the Big 12, Texas Tech falls 4-16. Iowa State 15. Iowa State sitting at 16 where they were before. And Kansas jumps 1 to number 24.
So it'll be a top 25 matchup tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. We'll have more to say about that game on tomorrow's show. Next headline, we'll get to some quarterback news from the National Football League. First, the big news. Aaron Rodgers may have a break in his wrist. He sat out the second half in the Steelers' 34-12 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Mason Rudolph actually put up some good numbers. That does not say anything about Mason Rudolph. That says all you need to know about the Cincinnati Bengals. And however you might feel as a Chiefs fan today, just know this. At least you don't root for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're fired. They're going to have to do a total reset there because Henderson's going to walk. They've got the offensive talent in place and locked up for the long term, but I think they got a clean house, start over, new staff. That needs a fresh paint job. That's gone stale. I don't think Zach Taylor survives this season.
Well, not even that. One of your other corners this week gets injured.
Yeah, Cam Taylor-Britt's out for the year,
yeah.
and he's like the good defensive player who isn't Trey Hendrickson. And so, yeah, they got all kinds of problems. But Aaron Rodgers may have suffered a slight break in his left non-throwing wrist. He'll undergo further testing and determine the full extent of his injury and how long he might be sidelined. Knowing Aaron Rodgers, he's going to melt this for all it's worth. He's going to pretend he's going to play all week. And then Sunday, it's going to be, oh, yeah, he's not playing. He had surgery on Wednesday. Something like that. So Rodgers likely to miss a little time. Jaylen Warren also got hurt for the Steelers in that game and left the game, but apparently that was out of a an abundance of caution in a game that the Steelers already knew they were going to win. Also, Michael Penix Jr. has suffered another major knee injury, which is a huge bummer. You remember his college career was derailed by knee injuries, and the belief is that Penix has damaged his ACL, but he is going through more tests today. He'll be placed on injured reserve. His season is over. Falcons lost in overtime to the Panthers to drop to 3-7. Kirk Cousins will start the rest of the way for the Falcons. It is a bummer that Penix has injured his knee again. He had
5th in 8 seasons combined in college in the NFL. He's going to miss the end of the season.
Yeah, he had 2 torn ACLs, 4 season-ending injuries in college, and another injury to his knee, combined with the fact that he just hasn't really played well, and he's also old for a young quarterback. He's already 25. That window might be closing a little early for Michael Penix Jr., which is a shame for him. Speaking of windows that are closing, it's over for Justin Fields. It has never been more over for Justin Fields because not only is he being benched, Aaron Glenn is willing to say out loud that, yeah, we're doing something else at quarterback in New York. Justin Fields is benched for real this time. Tyrod Taylor will start in the next Jets game.
Remember when there was reporting that he could return kicks?
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, let's do it.
A little tight end, like another former Ohio State quarterback, Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, and
put on some pounds.
Logan Thomas.
Yeah,
Logan
Virginia
Thomas,
Tech,
did,
right?
a former Virginia Tech quarterback. Yeah. He had a pretty decent career as a tight end.
So, Justin Fields is benched in New York. We have another NFL headline, Spencer, a scary one involving the Jets.
Yes. So the Jets were on a bye week this week, and their defensive back Chris Boyd was shot in New York. A suspect sought in the shooting. New York police have released surveillance images of the man that supposedly shot or sought in the shooting of Jets cornerback and special teams standout Chris Boyd. Boyd remained in critical condition but stable condition on Monday, a day after he was shot in Midtown Manhattan. Again, this was on their bye week. So
yeah, happened just after 2 a.m. Sunday. Nothing good happens after 1 a.m., man. Really, nothing good happens. Best advice I ever got. You're going to be out that late. Whatever you want to happen of being out that late, if it hasn't happened by midnight, it isn't going to happen. So get on home. The only things open after 2 a.m., hospitals, jails, and legs. Those are the only things open after 2 a.m. Anyway, Boyd, if that name is familiar to you, because he is more known for his special teams work than his work as a defensive back. If that name is familiar to you, he is the player who forced the Nico Remigio fumble on a kickoff return in the playoff game for the Texans last year, and then went off and shoved his special teams coach.
That's where I knew.
That's where you know the name Chris Boyd. So yes, hopefully he will be able to make a full recovery from that incident that led to his shooting over the weekend. All right, now we get to have some fun. It's time to talk Baseball Hall of Fame. The ballot is out for 2026. It is official. It is released today. These are the 27 players who will be chosen from by the Baseball Writers Association of America. 75% of the vote share gets you into Cooperstown. The highest returning vote share from last year belongs to former Royal Carlos Beltran, who's in his 4th year on the ballot. He got 70% of the vote last year, a pretty good sign that this will be the year that Beltran gets over the top. 435 career home runs, 312 career stolen bases, one of the great switch hitters in baseball history, a career 837 OPS, and 70 career wins above replacement. For me, that is a Hall of Famer. Other returners to the ballot. Bobby Abreu is back for his 7th year, got 19% of the vote last year. Probably not happened for Bobby Abreu, but he was a lot better than you remembered. Actually, a higher career OPS by a lot than Beltran because he had a 395 on base percentage, 288 homers, 400 stolen bases for Bobby Abreu. He was a really, really good player. Won a home run derby, really good player. Deserves more respect than he's gotten on the ballot. Mark Burley is back on the ballot for a 6th year, got 11% of the vote last year, won 214 games, threw a no-hitter and a perfect game in his career. Felix Hernandez got 20% of the vote in his first year of eligibility last year, 169 career wins, 342 career ERA, won a Cy Young, was a great pitcher for some not great Mariners teams. I would like to see him get a little bit more Hall of Fame love, though I don't know that he'll ultimately get in. Torrey Hunter barely stayed on the ballot last year. He's on his 6th year of eligibility. Brilliant defensive center fielder, 353 career home runs. Andrew Jones is on his 9th year on the ballot, so he has this year and next to get in. He got 66% of the vote last year, 434 career home runs, maybe the best defensive center fielder of his era. Did not decline gracefully. He went from being really good to just basically unplayable and kind of out of shape. And so that's why he hasn't gotten a lot of love Hall of Fame-wise, but he's very close and could get over that 75% threshold this year in his 9th year on the ballot. Dustin Pedroia is back for his 2nd year, the former Red Sox second baseman, won a Rookie of the Year, won an MVP, hit 299 in his career. Also returning to the ballot, Andy Pettitte, steroid user. That's all I really need to say about Andy Pettitte. I don't know why he gets more regard on the ballot than a lot of steroid users get, but he is an admitted steroid user. I don't care they won 256 games. You're not going to put all the other users in the Hall of Fame. Don't put this guy in. Why does he get 28% of the vote every year? That's Andy Pettitte. Great big game pitcher for the Yankees, it should be said. Final year of eligibility for Manny Ramirez. Steroid user, but he did hit 555 career home runs and bat .312. Not for the steroids, he would already be in. Instead, he's going to fall off the ballot after this year. We're on a run of steroid users. Alex Rodriguez is back for his 5th year on the ballot. He got 37% of the vote last year. He is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. 3,115 hits, 696 home runs, a career .295 batting average, and .930 OPS. Took sports drugs. He's never getting in. Francisco Rodriguez. K-Rod back for his 4th year on the ballot, 437 career saves. Jimmy Rollins, 5th year on the ballot, 2,455 hits, 470 steals, won a ring, won an MVP with the Phillies in 2007. Chase Utley, year number 3, got 40% of the vote last year. He's one to watch this year. Didn't put up the great counting numbers, but was generally regarded as the best second baseman of his era. Omar Vizquel in his 9th year on the ballot. It looked for a little bit like he was going to get in, and then there were some very damaging allegations leveled against him of sexual misconduct, and his vote share has dropped accordingly. 2,800 hits, whole mess of gold gloves at short, but ultimately not going to happen for him. David Wright in year 3 on the ballot, got 8% of the vote last year, the former captain of the Mets. The newcomers. I don't know that there's a single slam dunk Hall of Famer among the newcomers. I don't know that there's a single Hall of Famer, period, among the newcomers. But it's always fun because those guys get remembered, even if just for showing up on the ballot. Ryan Braun, steroid user, 352 career home runs, 296 batting average, won a Rookie of the Year, won an MVP. Also, not only lied about his steroid use, but tried to drag the name of the urine sample collector through the mud in court before ultimately having to admit, okay, yeah, I did. I took the drugs. I did the sports drugs. Shin-Soo Choo, 1st year on the ballot. Probably the greatest Korean position player of all time.
Yeah.
275 career average, 824 OPS. Good player, better than you remember. Not a Hall of Famer, but a good player. Edwin Encarnacion, 424 career home runs in a lengthy career that took him to Cincinnati and Cleveland and probably most famously Toronto. Gio Gonzalez, national great.
Very good.
Hall of Fine, 131 career wins, 370 career ERA.
I'll have a soft spot in my heart for him.
I believe
I got an autograph.
Oh, sure.
My first game in 2012. He was out there on a Sunday signing signature Sundays.
All right. Here's where it gets fun for you Royals fans out there. Alex Gordon is on the ballot. Gordo appears on this year's Hall of Fame ballot. A career .257 hitter with 190 home runs and 113 stolen bases. The counting stats just aren't there for Gordo, but he did win 7 Gold Gloves and spent his entire career with the same team, and that's pretty cool. The best player by wins above replacement to appear as a first-timer on this year's ballot, former Phillies left-hander Cole Hamels, 163 career wins, a .343 lifetime ERA, threw a no-hitter, and reached 4 All-Star games. Be interested to see what his Hall of Fame case looks like, because he's the best of the newcomers. Matt Kemp, former MVP with the Dodgers, Rocky great, final year of his career with Colorado, 284 lifetime hitter, 287 home runs, 184 stolen bases, as I mentioned, an MVP. World Series hero Howie Kendrick will appear on the ballot. Howie Kendrick hit the go-ahead home run for the Washington Nationals in Game 7 of the 2019 World Series. A lifetime 294 hitter. Only made one All-Star team. Never won a batting title, though. It always looked like he might. Career again.
It's crazy that he has a 294 career average. Like, that's pretty darn good.
No, it's excellent. He was a professional hitter.
Yeah.
Howie Kendrick. Nick Markakis, first time on the ballot, former Oriole and Brave, won 3 Gold Gloves, made an All-Star team, 189 career home runs, 288 lifetime hitter. A lot of guys who were just like, yeah, I was a good ball player. Daniel Murphy, first year on the ballot, another national great, another Rocky great. Actually,
Met great.
Yes, most known for his postseason with the Mets in 2015, where he briefly turned into the best hitter alive before the Royals neutralized him in the World Series.
All very good.
3 All-Star games, career 296 hitter, led the league in doubles twice. Homophobe, Daniel Murphy. Hunter Pence, first year on the ballot. Former Giant, one of my least favorite players of all time. Couldn't stand him. Hunter Pence, 4-time All-Star, 279 lifetime hitter, 244 career home runs. Wore his pant legs really, really high. And Rick Porcello rounds out the newcomers. He won a Cy Young. I bet you forgot he did that. 150 career wins, a 4.40 lifetime ERA. He's not going to get a vote. That is your Hall of Fame ballot for 2026. You get 10 slots. If I were voting, I got 10 slots. I got 10 guys to vote for. I'm voting for Beltran. I'm voting for Felix Hernandez. I'm voting for Chase Utley. I'm voting for Manny and A-Rod because I'm got to be consistent. I think Bonds and Clemens, not as people, but as baseball players, belong in the Hall of Fame. I think they should all be in, and we should tell the full story, the full sum total of a player's career. And so I think Ramirez and Rodriguez should be in. So that's 5. And then I might toss the vote Cole Hamels' way just to maybe think about him a little longer. I toss the vote Abreu's way, and then Alex Gordon just for fun. And I wouldn't use all 10 of my slots because I don't think there are 10 guys worth a vote here.
I would add in Howie Kendrick.
That's fine.
He basically won a World Series for a team with hitting the foul pole, and he was a career 294 hitter. It's hard to hit that well for a whole career.
It is. I don't think he will get a vote. I don't know if usually guys like that, if they were like really nice to the media, and I don't know what Kendrick's reputation was, he gets like a vote or two just as kind of a salute. And like, hey, a little bit of recognition, but it won't be much more than that for really most of the guys. I'm not even sure how many of these guys stay on the ballot longer than 1 year. If I had to guess which of those guys stay on the ballot longer than a year, it might just be Cole Hamels, which really clears the ballot for next season because Manny Ramirez is going to fall off. I think Beltran makes it this year. He might be he might be the only one. Honest to goodness, I think he might be the only one other than whoever makes it in on the Veterans Committee ballot. Anyway, thank you for indulging me. Let me talk some baseball. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little NFL football, including the Chiefs loss on Sunday. That's coming up at 580 Sports Talk. Quick aside here from me on the Baseball Hall of Fame thing before we get back into football. I had a commenter, Ryan, in the YouTube comments asked me, so if I think that if on my ballot I would have the steroid guys, if I thought they were good enough players to get in, then I would put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. And I am consistent on this stance, and I will remain consistent on this stance. Pete Rose was banned for life. And if you are expelled from baseball for life, I don't believe you should get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And the steroids guys weren't. So I think you consider them like you consider any other player. But Pete Rose was banned for life. And I know there's that whole thing from this summer where actually, well, he's not banned for life anymore. He's unbanned now that he's dead, which that's I got a lot to say about that, but we don't have enough time. But lifetime expulsion for me is the one thing that flat disqualifies you from the Hall of Fame no matter how good a player you were. Now, if you want to argue that steroids should be a lifetime expulsion, I'll hear you out. I don't know that I'll agree, but I'll hear you out. But that's where the difference is. That's where I draw the distinction between Rose and the best of the steroid guys who are Hall of Fame, like Pete Rose, Hall of Fame baseball player. Absolutely. But he broke a rule that's on the wall of every clubhouse, and the wages of that sin were lifetime banishment. And if he just not lied about it at the time, maybe he would have gotten off without the lifetime banishment. Maybe he would have had it lifted while he was alive. We could have a different conversation, but we can't. And now he'll never really repent for it because he's dead.
Yeah.
So that's why, as far as voting goes, enshrining players, that's my position. You're free to disagree, but that is my position, and I just want to make sure that was clear. Anyhow, doesn't matter because I'll never get a vote anyway, right? Let's talk some football. Week 11 was a big one. There were two huge games in the NFC. Now, we talked to Matt Verderame about this in the 3 o'clock hour. The Rams beat the Seahawks 21-19. Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions. I want to be real clear. If Sam Darnold has 1,000 haters, then I am one of them. If Sam Darnold has one hater, then I am him. If Sam Darnold has 0 haters, then I must be dead. And I know what the Seahawks defense thinks of the Sam Darnold haters. They were very explicitly clear in their post-game remarks. Ernest Jones, the linebacker in particular. But that dude is a bum. He's always going to be a bum. In big games, he's going to be the biggest bum. And the next person that brings up Sam Darnold's EPA per play to me, I'm going to throat punch you. I don't want to hear it. He's a bum. He will never win the big game.
Well, at least Brendan's not here.
Brendan knows better. Anyway, but the Rams won that game, and they only won it by 2 because the Seahawks defense is that good. The Seahawks pummeled Stafford in that game. And with a real quarterback, they would have won. Philadelphia beat the Lions last night in a very gross game, 16-9. The Lions were 0 for 5 on 4th down.
Yeah.
Which was very funny. Dan Campbell apparently calling games against the real defense calling the plays against the real defense isn't so easy. Huh, pal? Anyway, but we talked about Verderame about this. I don't know that those results really offer us a whole lot of clarity as to who the best team in the NFC is. Like, do you feel like you have a solid answer or a solid ordering of those teams moving forward based on what we saw last night?
No.
I mean, you might have to put Philly at the top just because they keep winning, but they are a very unconvincing 8-2. They kind of feel like the Chiefs of last year. That was the comparison that Matt made, and a comparison I've seen a lot, that, you know, their offense has looked flat broken at times, and they've got a lot of dysfunction on that side of the ball, but defensively, they make play after play, and offensively, they're doing just enough to win all these games. Add that to the fact that they're defending champs, I guess I put them at the top, but do I feel like they're overwhelmingly ahead of the Rams or even the Lions or even Seattle with how great their defense is? I don't know that I feel that way.
No, and the Seahawks, I don't know what their schedule is, but I will tell you, I am circling whenever the January 4th final game is getting played. Because
that's Seahawks Rams. It could be for the division.
Brock Purdy looked.
Oh no, Seahawks 49ers.
Yeah.
Rams Seahawks is week 15.
Brock Purdy looked
16.
Pretty decent in his first game back, right? Like,
yeah, it was against the Cardinals.
But still, I mean, like you got
but still,
you got to come back at some point. You got to, to have a good. They're going to build him confidence going forward. I think that could be pretty interesting because the 49ers have a real shot to have there's 6 games left for them.
Yep.
They could go 4-1 heading into the final week.
They could. They could. I don't think it's going to be that easy for them because, again, they're missing. I mean, Fred Warner's such a big loss on that defense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they have been a very good regular season team, and they've found ways to make it shake and stay in that race when I think a lot of people wrote them off entirely a couple of weeks ago when Warner went down.
I just think they're sneaky because I don't know where the Seahawks go from here. I don't know how that shakes out, right? That division shakes out, but obviously the NFC North is contending for multiple teams in the playoffs, and so is the NFC West.
In other action, Buffalo outscored their miserable defense. They beat Tampa Bay 44-32. Like, they are so bad on the defensive side of the ball, except all of a sudden Cole Bishop, who I don't know what got into him before the Kansas City game, but the last 3 weeks, Cole Bishop's looked like a top-end safety when he looked borderline unplayable for the first season and a half of his career. Other than him, they got nobody on that side of the ball making plays. Josh Allen's throwing to plumbers. And here they are. They're scoring 44 points. And it's a little bit more grist for the Tampa Bay wasn't actually good and was just kind of a bit of a fraud case early in this season. But as long as Buffalo can score 44, it doesn't matter if their defense gives up 30. I still expect that defense to be a problem that bites them in a big spot. It's probably going to keep them from winning their division. But for one day, Josh Allen and the Pips were good enough to beat Tampa Bay. The Chargers look like they might be cooked. I think if there is a team that is most likely, that is currently in a roster playoff spot in the AFC that is most likely to fall off a cliff in the final 6 games of the season, it's the Chargers. They're too beat up. They can't block a soul. They got to play the Eagles. They got to go to Kansas City. They got the Texans who are just going to tee off on Justin Herbert. They got to play the Broncos again. I think they could wind up 9-8 or worse. And I think the Chiefs will finish better than that, especially if they beat them on December 14th, which I think they probably will. I think it's all going to go downhill for the Chargers. I don't think it's necessarily their fault, but the Jaguars, who came in a crisis of their own, look like the 85 Bears against the Chargers yesterday. So I think that Charger team has some big, big problems to address coming down the stretch. Also, speaking of cooked, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
It is getting late early for J.J. McCarthy. And now all of those intangible things that we talked about with McCarthy, and I admit I kind of bought into it. This guy quarterbacked a national championship team at Michigan, and everybody around that program just spoke glowingly of the leadership and the confidence and the things that he could do in a locker room. And that's all well and good. But he's bad at throwing the football. And I don't know how you fix that. Like, it's a little Tebow-ish right now. And not like this guy shouldn't be in the league, but I'm not sure this guy looks like a starting quarterback right now. And I don't know what Minnesota does if they strike out on McCarthy. But in retrospect, the signs were all there, right? The summer-long flirtation with Aaron Rodgers, the fact that in one of McCarthy's biggest wins as the starting quarterback in college, he threw the ball 8 times. Like, the signs were there. There were some signs that maybe this guy wasn't all the way there as a passer. And maybe, just maybe, he's a guy that needs a little bit more grace because he didn't play any football last season. And this is really his first year of NFL practice and preparation. But if you watch him throw, like you watch him play the position, it does not look good. It does not look good. And right now, as a texter points out from the 785, Chicago leads the NFC North. They're 7-3. They weren't super convincing in that win over the Vikings, but they're 7-3. Like, there are a lot of teams out there. I forget who it was. It was Mike Tenier on social media, NFL writer, who said it sort of feels like there's a division of like kind of crummy teams, but they keep playing each other and building, and the best of those crummy teams, like Denver and Chicago, like keep building up their records to look really, really impressive when they're not actually that impressive. All these teams that got 3rd and 4th place schedules last year, like the Patriots are another example.
Like
of a team that got a mid schedule,
or like the Commanders of last year.
Sure,
they got an easy schedule, and then they just happened to get hot, and then they lost in the NFC Championship game. Come back this year, even early on in the season, they weren't very good with the number 1 schedule. But when you look at the Bears going forward, They got the Packers twice.
Mm-hmm.
They
Packers own them.
Yes, and they got the Eagles. They got the Steelers this week. They got the 49ers and then the Lions to wrap up the year. I feel like the only sure win in there is probably against the Browns on December 14th.
Yeah, we'll see who's playing quarterback for the Browns. A lot of people got what they wanted to see. They got to see Shedeur Sanders in an NFL game, and that young man went 4 for 16 with 47 yards and a pick, and was sacked twice for 27 yards.
But
there's a reason
he hasn't had any starting player snaps.
Because that's how it works. You don't get reps with the starters when you're not a starter. That's how it works. You morons. He can't play. They know he can't play. It's why they haven't put him in, because Dylan Gabriel can't play, and that's really obvious. But they haven't put Sanders in because they know he can't play either. There's a reason he slid to the 5th round. He can't play.
Yeah, it was a bad day all around for Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if you heard about it, but he had his house burglarized while making his debut.
And nobody deserves that. That sucks.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. 4 for 16, 47 yards and a pick, and that's not the worst part of your day? Yeah, that's bad. That's a shame. We'll take a break. We'll come back as we wrap up 580 Sports Talk. .551 on 580 Sports Talk. Coming up, top of the 6 o'clock hour, pregame coverage from Bramlage Coliseum. The Kansas State Wildcats back in action in men's basketball tonight, taking on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Vance in the YouTube comments asked earlier, they get a lot of hurricanes in Tulsa? I forget why. I read the story on this. Now I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it back in the day when they used to there was a lot of purple prose in sports writing. And writers would come up with a lot of really ornate descriptions and analogies. Probably something like the Tulsa football team was referred to as having moved down the field like a tremendous hurricane or something like that. Like an unyielding hurricane.
Tulsa is called the Golden Hurricane because the name was chosen in 1922 to reflect the team's new gold and black uniforms and their aggressive playing style, evolving from its initial consideration of Golden Tornadoes.
That's interesting. Like Golden Tornado, that's Coffee Field Kinley's the Golden Tornado here in Kansas. But
Coach Howard Achur
sure
was inspired by the remark about the team roaring through opponents and wanted the name that evoked power.
Okay.
The name was officially voted on by the team and selected over contenders like Yellow Jackets. There's your history on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane.
There you have it. Here's some current Tulsa knowledge for you. They're 117th in the Ken Palm, so they're worse than Cal in the Ken Palm. K-State actually dropped to 61. They were 56 before the Cal game. The question for Kansas State is not can they score. The question for K-State is will they be able to adequately defend enough to make their offensive efforts stand up. Like I said, I've been really, really enthusiastic about K-State's offense, their ball movement, their shot selection, their shot quality. And I think if that continues into tonight, they should be in pretty good shape. Tip off at 7 o'clock, again, right here on 580 WIBW. Final word is next. All right, let's put a bow on this episode of 580 Sports Talk with a final word. Spencer Dupuis.
Yeah, I got a two-parter. One is not sports related. The other is sports related real quick. Not sports related part. I love renting cars because car rental companies only offer the newest of new cars for the most part. And I get to see the 9-year, 10-year difference that a 2016 my car year has to all these ones. I want a new car. Like, I want a new car on the highway. It was telling me how far a car was in front of me and slowed me down and then let me go back up when they got in the different lane. Like, I want a new car.
We got a minute and a half left. Can we get to sports?
And for the sports, for the Chiefs, the AFC West is lost. That's all I got to say.
Final word for me. One-score games determine so much how you do in one-score games. And last year, that was the Chiefs' superpower. They never lost a one-score game. Last year, also, the Denver Broncos were 1-6 in one-score games. They are now 7-2 in one-score games this year, and the Chiefs are 0-5. And that is why the Broncos are going to win the AFC West, because I think the Chargers are going to continue to crash out and Chiefs anymore for the Chiefs. So where does this group go from here? It's a topic that we're going to explore a little bit more on tomorrow's show. The idea of maybe the well is dry. Maybe there's just not that finishing kick, not that ability to reach back for the big fastball for the Kansas City Chiefs. After all of these years of deep playoff runs, maybe we are seeing it finally take its toll and this team start to show some cracks. I don't think necessarily that yesterday's game represented the beginning of the end for the Chiefs dynasty as we know it. I think that would be too extreme. But it felt a little like the beginning of the end, if that makes some sense. Because something foundational to it, winning the division, that has been lost. K-State basketball's next. We're back tomorrow from 3 to 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan. Good night.